When I think about the industry, certainly financial technology seems to get sexy. The automated investment solutions, they're pretty sexy. But the thing that's anti-sexy has got to be forms. So how do you and LaserWrap work to make forms actually be somewhat sexy in the industry?
Well, I'd have to agree with you, Bill. I mean, forms are definitely not a sexy thing, but I think the nice thing about software is you don't have to be necessarily sexy. You can be functional, you can really solve a need. And hosting our annual conference in the middle of San Diego in August, and what we have behind us helps make things a little bit sexier.
So when you work with your enterprises, when you work with advisors, how does the feedback that they give you motivate you to improve the product, and how does it help you identify those holes and those gaps that you can fill?
Short answer is the advisor is everything. To be quite frank, the advisor is more important than any other customer that we have, because the advisor is the ultimate adopter. No matter what solution a broker-dealer rolls out, if the advisor doesn't want it, it's not going to be successful. So I would say that is our kind of our main driver. Our CEO, he is an advisor. He's been a financial advisor for 30 years now, so yep. He's our big driver as far as that's concerned. But a lot of customer feedback, a lot of advisor feedback, but everything really comes back to that end office and that end user and how they're actually using the software.
So we met last year here in San Diego for the 2014 conference. How has the last year been for your business and for the adoption among your advisors and enterprises?
It's been busy. It's been incredibly busy. I mean, you saw I presented a lot on what we'd accomplished this year and what we have coming the rest of the year. So from a development perspective, we've been extremely busy. From an adoption perspective, LaserWrap is actually, I would estimate, probably the most adopted technology in the industry. We've got a ton of users out there, but it's still an important and a lingering problem for broker-dealers to get tech adoption. And so we've kind of looked at the greater good and said, somebody's got to talk about adoption. Everybody wants people to discuss it, so that's why we made that our focus of this year's event.
So one of the slides that you presented today actually made me think a little bit. I thought the trend in the industry was for more paperless forms, more
right.
electronic documents, but your slide showed that the length of forms is actually increasing. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you've learned from that?
Sure, yeah, most firms don't realize that forms are actually getting longer in our industry. It's been a trend for quite some time now. So although there's a shift towards paperless processing, electronic processing, it's to solve the problem of the forms getting longer, the paper getting more intense. Forms length has increased by 20% in the past 2 years, but most people just don't see that happening or just don't see it coming.
It makes sense to me now with regulatory requirements increasing, disclosure requirements increasing, that the documents and forms get larger. So it makes me rethink what I was imagining about paperless and electronic forms and a more simpler process, because certainly the online solutions are trying to be all about very simple, where you can open up an account in just a few minutes and not have to deal with a lot of paperwork.
Sure.
So is LaserWrap positioned well for that trend?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of a very, I would say, an oversimplified view. There are some types of accounts where you can just, in a few steps, set up an account or take an action, a service on a specific account very easily. So you don't need a whole lot of paperwork to get that done. There are a lot of scenarios where you need to do heavy lifting and need a lot of paper.
Not everybody's life is so cookie cutter, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because people don't realize when they think about LaserWrap, they think about LaserWrap as forms, and I would say that's not quite accurate. Yes, we do forms. We maintain the giant current library of forms, but the technology LaserWrap runs on it, you're basically dealing with web pages and data. They look like forms because that's comfortable to the advisor or to the user, but it doesn't have to look that way. If there was something that was more comfortable to the user, we would probably be doing that.
So I hear that as the future for LaserWrap is actually going to be even more important as more regulatory requirements come out and as more forms come out and as our own lives get more complicated.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't see LaserWrap going anywhere anytime soon as far as our technology or anything like that. It's definitely, we've got a lot of work ahead of us.
Well, it's been a privilege to hear the updates from the company this morning, and I look forward to more innovation that you have in the future.
Great, thanks, Bill.